Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Planet Tyro to celebrate International Animation Day month. We're going to be continuing our talk on Laika Studios for this month, and we're down to our third movie. We're doing this backwards, as I mentioned before. The last thing we spoke about was the Box Trolls, a movie that was kind of hit and miss, and now we're going to be talking about Paranorman. Oh, scary! Paranorman. Paranorman was released in 2012, second movie by Laika Studios. And here's the plot if you guys don't know. Paranorman is about a kid named Norman. He can actually see dead spirits. And it causes him a lot of hassle. People ridicule him at school because sometimes he sees these things and it scares him. He even kind of sees himself getting taken away to different places. And he's just known around his school and his family as a freak. And everyone's just sick of him and he's kind of just frustrated. But he enjoys the spirits, he's really accustomed to it, and we can see he likes scary things. His ringtone is scary, his room's got all these, horror elements to it. And the plot of the movie's got to do with Norman comes across his uncle who tells him he wants to pass on a task to Norman, that if Norman doesn't stop this witch from resurrecting, zombies are going to come alive in the town and the world's going to come to an end. So Norman's got to step up to the plate and help save the world, yada yada yada. What did I think of the movie overall? Now, from watching the Box Trolls, this was a step in a better direction. This wasn't a perfect movie, but I enjoyed the movie. And I remember when this movie came out in the cinema, this and Frankenweenie and even Coraline, all of these movies got mixed up in my head together. And I don't know, there was a lot of the horror-ish things going on, so I lumped this movie along with the rest of a lot of horror, scary movies going on. I didn't see how this one stood out. And first of all, let's talk about the stop motion animation. These guys really love what they do. And what I mean by that is, not only do they have the same high level of quality they had from the movies that are coming ahead, but even now, with this movie that's a homage to horror, from the opening scene, you see they have a little montage of the horror movie, the colors, the detail. I think one of the things that stands out is this movie is made in modern times. So there's a city, there's a high school, and it was nice to see Laika doing all their stop motion area creation in detail for, the town and the city. And there's a lot of detail to this town. I paused it and saw how much detail they put into it. And this was pretty big scale. I mean, Kubo was big scale as well. But I think this had more detail because you got the area and the schools and the ghosts and the ghouls. I like the animation a lot. It really shone, especially in the end where the zombies are chasing them and the witch, especially the last scene with the witch and Norman versus the witch. That was really well executed. That looked really good. And I guess it could be kind of scary if you're young, but I'm an adult, so it wasn't scary. But it looked the part. It looked absolutely great. And you know what? One thing I'm getting from stop motion, unlike CG, because these are real things that are being moved by hand, they're clean. They're always gonna look really good. Although they have to make the models themselves and move them, you're always gonna get a clean look with stop motion because you're designing these things. It's not done on the computer. So whatever you make by hand, that's how it's gonna see. And obviously they use computers and hands to move it and take away backgrounds and such. So I really appreciate, and again, everyone loves Laika for the appreciation to detail because stop motion is killer to do. And it's fluid throughout the movie. It looks great, and the way they pay attention to horror, that's good. Let's get to the story and the characters. So the characters, Norman is great. The voice acting is fantastic. They always get a good cast. Not as big as we've seen before. There's some guys like John Goodman, and there's someone from, apart from John Goodman, all the other voice actors, them like Casey Affleck, and someone from Family Guy, and someone from Curb Your Enthusiasm as well. Solid cast, perfectly cast. They sound dead on for these characters. Lastly, let's get to the story. Now, the story of Paranorman, it starts off very jovial, and it actually started off kind of slow for me. I was wondering, what is the story going to be about? And my main problem with the story is that it took a while to set off, and then when it did, well, this is a positive. It really surprised me. It actually had not a deep story, but kind of a darker emotional story than I thought. And what was actually going on with the witch and stuff, that was pretty dark, I have to admit. The thing that I think stands out the most about this movie is the comedy. Now, the kind of comedy is very subtle, but so much adult jokes in here that I was really surprised. I mean, there's a joke about the F word that has really took me by surprise. It's very minor, but they just sprinkle all the way through this movie all these little adult jokes, and it's like it just kept on making me go, what? Did they really just do that? Did they really just say that? And it's so subtle that I don't think if the young ones would see it coming, but if you're an adult, I think you would really appreciate it. And just the dialogue on its own is just, it had a charm to it, had a personality. And again, going back to the story, I think my biggest problem with the movie is that the middle of the movie didn't flesh out. It didn't get to where they wanted to get to. The beginning was kind of a starter. In the middle, they kind of rushed, to me, especially the middle part, they kind of rushed to these things with the townspeople when they were trying to draw parallels to, treating people with respect, and they're trying to make Norman a new age version of this witch. But it happens so fast, and the townspeople become crazy so fast, and it didn't develop at an even pace for me. So by the end, when it got more dark and more emotional, it was good, but I was like, the pacing was a little bit off. But in saying that, and to be honest with you, if I watched this movie at the time it was released, I think I wouldn't have even have had such high expectations. But after seeing Kubo, my expectations are just, these guys are on another level for me. And this movie was a step in the right direction. It's a very good movie. Honestly, it's a good movie. I would give it a solid B. The animation's good, the story's good. I like what they did. It was a perfect homage to the horror genre. And I remember it got a lot of high ratings. People rated this movie very highly, and it was a favorite for people. And I think this was another movie that helped Laika stand out. And again, watching this movie, I thought to myself, Disney and Pixar wouldn't go so dark. This movie had, part of the story was a child being murdered. That was part of the story. Disney wouldn't go that far. Pixar wouldn't go that far. But again, Laika knows how to make a very simple story and give it a lot of heart, give it some good characters, give it great animation. It's the Disney Pixar model. It's how they do it. It's how Studio Ghibli does it as well. Simplicity, but with good characters, good animation, you can make it memorable. So, simple best. I thought Paranorman was good. So only one more movie to get to. We're going to go back to Caroline, or what it is. The first movie, Coraline. That's it. The first movie that did Coraline. We're going to get to that one next. And Laika Studios, they stand out. Stop motion, quality, entertainment. But that was this one, guys. Let me know what you thought of Paranorman. Leave a comment in the comment section down below. Share your thoughts. And as we continue to celebrate International Animation Day month on Planet Tyro, don't forget to check the playlist, because we've done other stuff here. Apart from this year, we did a whole lot of stuff last year as well. But let's continue with the Laika and the other stuff we're doing on Planet Tyro. And I want to say, guys, thanks for watching. Hit the annotations on the right to all the other stuff we do. Books, TV, movie shows, books, movies, TV shows, anime, what have you. Thanks to all the new subscribers that came on recently. We really appreciate the bump. I'm glad we're, making waves, so to speak. And I'm glad you guys celebrate International Animation Day month. But enough said. I'll see you guys on the next video for the Laika review, discussion, coverage. Take care. Until then, peace out.